These are all the art books that I thrifted in 2024. Hello art community, it's Madalina here, and today I'm going to take you through all these art books and share with you what inspired me the most in terms of composition, color palettes, artistic choices and styles, and so on and so forth. So get comfy and enjoy this video. My latest addition to my collection is this book illustrated by Isabella Areno, and as you can see already from the cover, the colors are muted, but there's some vibrant touches here and there, especially with orangey and reddish colors. There are a lot of stylized shapes and also stylized lines. I mean, there's no precise line art in her artwork, but there's so much spontaneity, and I really love her style. Also, her drawings are really delicate and the background usually monochrome. There's so much texture in there and I really love this. Look at this illustration. This is so sweet, and the fact that everything is monochrome aside from the blanket and the girl's hair, this conveys all the attention on the girl and on the letter she's reading. So there are a lot of key elements in terms of composition and values that we as artists can learn a lot from. Another children's book that I added to my collection is this one illustrated by Jérôme Pélissier, which is an illustrator I discovered on Instagram. And I really love his illustrations, even if they are very different from Isabella Areno's style, because there are other elements that I appreciate a lot, like the vibrancy of the color palettes that are so joyful and they really suit children's stories, in my opinion. And I also love the way he stylizes bodies. I think he captures the flow of the poses through simple shapes, which is a thing that I want to achieve in my style too. I don't want to add too many details that distract the viewer. And yeah, I think the way he draws faces and bodies is so nice. Also, I love this canvas texture that he adds to his illustrations because he works digitally and he still wants to achieve a traditional feel. The next book is a graphic novel and it's illustrated by Yana Bogatch, which is known as Cosmic Spectrum on Instagram. And I think it's from an American library. It has a lot of labels in here. I forgot to mention that all these books come from both flea markets here in Italy, but also from the second-hand section on Amazon, and from Vinted, which is a second-hand platform very popular in Europe. So I have different languages in here. There's French, there's English, also Italian and German. So I don't care too much about languages because what matters to me is art, and this is the reason why I buy children's book and art books in general. For those who already know Cosmic Spectrum, you also know that her style is very gloomy and she's very skilled at drawing anatomy, bodies, expressions. She also does a lot of videos here on YouTube about figure drawing, and I think they're very useful and we can learn a lot from them. In general, the atmosphere in this graphic novel is very gloomy, and I think the monochromatic choices is very suitable to this story. Overall, I enjoy the way she draws. I also love how she draws hair. I think it's very charming. This book here is a very old one. It's illustrated by Philippe Legendre-Kvater, and it's an old illustrator, and as you can see from his illustrations, the backgrounds, also the clothes are old, and the illustrations are made with watercolors and graphite. It's rare to see nowadays this kind of technique on children's book because almost all illustrators use a bit of digital, even if they paint traditionally. And what I love about this book is the composition, the fact that the characters are going from one page to the other, and also the negative space because there's the background but also some drawings that are outside the background, like for example this wolf that is coming out from the background. It's very nice. And a very cute detail is also the first letter of the text being illustrated by hand. She also did a great job with lighting and shadows, and with watercolors it's not so easy because you have to plan everything ahead. Otherwise you can't correct things once you've painted. Oh, this is a very cute book. Look at this cover. I really love the composition, the frame, the color palette, which is muted but at the same time pastel-y. And I really love the work of Alice and Martin Provensen, who are a couple, and it's very rare to find a couple of writers and illustrators who work on the same projects. I think this is so precious. What I love about these illustrations is definitely the composition and the way everything is framed, but also the brush strokes that you can clearly see on each shape. Of course, also the stylization, and I love the creamy paper that gives that vintagey look, and I want to incorporate this kind of paper in my work too, because I love to do illustrations that have some old vibes to them. And what I seek for is also stylization, and I love how bodies are stylized in this book. They achieve like a very nice contrast between the stylized body and the expressions that I think are a bit more polished and realistic. This was very hard to find because it features the illustrations by Mary Blair, the greatest Mary Blair that inspired a lot of old Disney movies, the best Disney movies in my opinion. And of course, you already know her art. She used colors in such a great way, and also the shapes. I mean, her shapes are so good, simple and effective. And I think this is my favorite illustration in this book. I want to reproduce it, maybe do a master copy, because I want to study how she composed this image, especially the pose, and I love everything about the visual communication in this illustration. Also, look at this contrast between big shape and very small shapes. I think it's very powerful. Overall, she communicates a lot through colors and contrasts, and also, look at the table. It's so cute. THUMBELINE, illustrated by Lisbeth Zwerger, which is an old illustrator. I bought this book again from an old library. I think I got it on Amazon, and I love the under drawing on these illustrations. I love these lines that are not so precise, are like a sketch, and the fact that the colors are muted, especially in the background, that is basically monochromatic, but there are some pops of red here and there that catch the attention. And I think that the poses, especially the hand poses, are very powerful and communicate a lot. I love the interaction between characters. Yeah, you can feel the emotion in this book. There's a lot of pathos. When I found this book at a flea market, I was thinking, how cute are these illustrations? I mean, these are so cute, and look at the details in the background and in different rooms of this villa. Because as you can notice from some details like the stairs and the walls, this is for sure a big house, and I really love these cute animals that are doing different things. And but overall, I love the backgrounds. I love the details in the background, like the kitchen tools, and also the look at these pictures on the wall. And yeah, everything is so subtle, and I think this was achieved through watercolors, and the gradients are so smooth. Everything is blending so well. There aren't harsh color transitions, and yeah, overall, I love everything about these illustrations. This is a book illustrated by Inga Moore that I'm sure a lot of you already know. I mean, of course, her style is really inspired by Beatrix Potter because they have a lot in common. I mean, the technique, which is ink and watercolors, and also the details. There are so many details. Also, look at the texture of this tree. It's amazing. And as you can see, the trees that are going far away are less detailed, and she achieves this transition very well. I really love how everything fades away. Also, the composition is very nice. And also, I love the way she separates the background from the foreground. I mean, she still uses details, but I think she applies a sort of a blue color layer over everything that is far in the background, so that there's this kind of fog. Another great book is this one illustrated by Gerda Müller, which is an amazing illustrator. I mean, in terms of art style, I think it's very similar to the Inga Moore style, and I think it has to do with the period of time they were living in. But aside from that, the composition is so great. Look at this illustration. You can tell from where the donkey is coming from and where it's going. I mean, you can follow his path from one side to the other of the page. And another great thing is the way she portrays every moment of the day. Here you can tell that it's almost sunset, and here you can tell that it's sunset already, and then it's night, and everything is so smooth, and every transition is so delicate and powerful at the same time. Also, look at this illustration. This is a nice way to portray the animals that are looking from the outside the house, and also you can see what's inside the house and what's happening. And then on the other page, you can see that the animals are coming in, you can see the inside of the house, and then you can see the people that are going out from the other side of the house. So this is so nice. It creates a lot of movement and flow in the illustration. Well, this is a big art book. It's huge compared to the other art books, and I bought it mainly because I really liked the painterly style. If you look closer at this illustration, you can see a bit of Leyendecker influence. I mean, I love how the illustrator achieved the volumes through these angular shadows. I want to do a master study of one of these illustrations because I really love how the clothes are painted, and yeah, basically I bought it for this reason. I have another book from Alice and Martin Provensen, and this book is mostly about a farm and the animals at the farm. And this is the reason why I bought it, basically because I really love the way they stylized the animals, and I want to do so with my animals in the futures. I want to like take inspiration from other great illustrators who stylized and simplificate shapes. And yeah, I also love the brush strokes. I mean, I usually tend to blend everything very smoothly. I don't want to see a lot of brush strokes, but then when I see other artists' brush strokes that are visible, I really enjoy them, and I think, wow, would be great to add to my style. So eventually this year I want to experiment, and I may do this kind of painting technique and see how it works. This is a Disney encyclopedia, and there are a lot of them on different topics, but I've only found this animals book. This is in Italian, but basically it's about how Disney simplified and stylized animals. And the great thing about this is that you can see the reference photos of the animal or the bird, and then you can see how Disney decided to stylize it and what features enhanced the most, like for example the expressions, of course, the eyes. Overall, I think that the main focus for Disney was, of course, readable shapes and expressions, but they're also very true to reality, so I think they did a great job in general. This is a very old book illustrated by Philippe Legendre, which is a French illustrator from the 19th century. I don't know if you can notice, but there's so much texture within the color, and this reminds me a lot of Japanese paintings as well. I think he really loved drawing animals and birds and insects from his garden. I know that he really loved using watercolors. I've read about it on Wikipedia. And yeah, I think he also did a great job with stylizing the animals, even if it's a different style than the Disney one. I think that all of us have some sort of art history book in their collection, especially about great painters from the past. In this case, it's Toulouse-Lautrec. And this book, I found it at a flea market in Romania. What I love about it is that it also features some of Toulouse-Lautrec's sketches. And I think that through sketches, I always connect better to the artist rather than the finished artworks. And I really love seeing some of his studies and the line work, which is very powerful. Of course, he did a lot of commercial because at that time commercial illustration was a big thing and illustrators basically lived on this. This book instead was given to me by my sister, and I think she found it in a French flea market. I really love the quality of the printing. I think the colors are so vivid and bright, and you can see every and each brush stroke. And I think I can manage to do a master study of one of his paintings because I can truly see every mark and I can better understand his choices. This last book is about Norman Rockwell and I found it on Amazon, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, it's such a nice book because it's very different from the other books that I've seen out there. And basically you can see the references and the models that Norman Rockwell used to create his illustrations. I know that nowadays we say that using references is not a good thing, but I think that he was a great illustrator and you can see that his poses are more powerful and have more life than the models. I think this is a great book to have because you can truly compare the references to the illustration and see where the artist pushed proportions and pose and expression. Like you can see the difference and you can study a lot from it. Also, I love the use of color and the way he mastered the folds of the clothes and also the folds of the skin on the faces of the characters. There's so much skill inside. I don't know. It's so amazing. So this was my haul of thrifted art books, and let me know in the comments if you also love thrifting art books and what are your favorite finds. Thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye!